Welcome back to Psycho Turtle Collectibles in Pico Rivera, California. We have a real treat for you today. Round number 5 of Swiss of our League Cup is going to be between Michael Kelsch and Len Deuel. That is a real spicy one to have in round 5 of Swiss at an MSS. And I am super excited to get into this one. Both of these players 3-1 today. Michael Kelsch dropping a game to Brian Collins, if you were curious. Michael will be having some tech issues right now, so I'm going to look at the team sheets while they figure it out and get it listed out. Michael is running Dragapult, Sneasler, Electabuzz, Volcarona, Rillaboom, and Primarina. Here we go. And Len is running the Golden Go, Corviknight, Amoonguss, Glamora, Garchomp, and Tyranitar. So a lot of that sandy team that we've seen so much of on Len's side. And on Michael's, that Sneasler. That's a nasty Sneasler. It's Poison Touch. It's got Dire Claw. It gets some nasty work done. Saw a little bit of that in his last game off stream, and between it and Dragapult, there's a lot of damage that those two Pokemon can unload in really weird ways against really weird type combinations. But speaking of weird type combinations, there's a lot of weird type combinations in running this hard of sand. That is 5 Mons that are immune to sand chip damage, 2 of which get the special defense boost. Glamora, as well as the Tyranitar, of course. And that Garchomp does have the Sand Veil as well, not going for the rough skin that we've seen so much of, but going for that high upside of the Sand Veil. Michael Kelsch, of course, coming right off of his top 4 placement at the World Championships. Real incredible player, but we've sure given him a taste of SoCal, both literally because he got Domino's Pizza and also figuratively with, well, also having to play against Brian's side spam team. But in any case, leads for each side. For Michael, it's the Volcarona and the Dragapult. For Len, it is Glamora and Corviknight. This Volcarona is the Quiver Dance variant. It does have Leftovers as its item and Flamethrower. No Heat Wave on this set. Able to do that single target damage much more. Had to drink water. Be sure to drink water if you're at home today, especially if you're in this area because it's 150 degrees out or whatever. Dragon Dart's first move used is going to deal 1 hit to each of those 2. Solid damage to the Glamora, but the Toxic Debris will spread all over Michael's side. The Sneasler could come in to shake that off, and the Mortal Spin coming through. Hits both targets. I don't think I didn't know Mortal Spin hit both targets, I'll be totally honest with you. It gets the poison onto both of these Mons. And the Quiver Dance goes down for the Volcarona, so that's a good little early Quiver Dance, but it might not mean a whole lot. That Brave Bird will not knock out the Volcarona. Gets very close. The Flame Body does drop Corviknight's attack stat in return. Will Volcarona drop to the poison damage? It just might. Leftovers will heal it up a little bit. And the poison damage? Not going to pick up the knockout. Volcarona barely still standing after that turn. It's going to have 1 more turn unless it goes for a big Giga Drain. Giga Drain would probably be better on Glamora, but still might not recover enough HP to take another poison hit, to be totally honest. I just want to go for hitting something. Glamora goes for the Spiky Shield. Dragapult is Choice Band, so it's locked into Dragon Darts. The Flamethrower comes out into the Corviknight, gonna pick up the knockout. Volcarona will drop as well to poison damage, and Dragapult will just sit there. Dragon Darts is not a contact move, so will not proc the damage from the Spiky Shield. And Ramoth will get taken down by the poison damage. If Sneasler comes in here, it can take away the Toxic Spikes. That is only if Sneasler is here to switch in. Hey, Stitch is in the corner. Stitch does look sleepy. Stitch is a cat, for those at home unfamiliar with Stitch. Garchomp switching in for Len, and it is going to be the Sneasler coming in for Michael. So that will drop the Toxic Spikes. Although another hit on the Glamora will obviously get the Toxic Spikes back up. Keep in mind this Garchomp is not rough skin, so not a whole lot of downside to going for the Fake Out into it. That is your preferred solution of dealing with Garchomp. The Sneasler is Focus Sash. It's not Unburden, remember, it's Poison Touched. I was talking to him about it off stream. Tyranitar comes out, so it will bring up the Sand Veil for the Garchomp, as well as just make sand happen. It's a little difficult for Sneasler to deal with, as it'll take away the Focus Sash, but also Sneasler has a big fighting type move that just destroys Tyranitar. Especially now that we have seen the Terrastal for Garchomp, it is Terra Steel. This turn could be pretty important. Dragon Darts comes out. Not great damage to either of them, but does some damage. Close combat, into the Garchomp. Sand Veil does not activate. Garchomp is gone. Critical hit as well. Just everything layered into that guy. Sneasler picks up the knockout onto the Garchomp. There it goes. Might have been expecting something else there, but whatever it was expecting, it got really... It got destroyed. And honestly, Michael pretty much had that Garchomp trapped, as Dragon Darts would have done a ton of damage to it if it didn't terrastalize, but now you've lost your Terra. Tyranitar can't get away from the Rock and Dark type, it's Terra Grass, can't get away from that typing that just will get blown up by close combat. This game might actually... this game might be over this turn, assuming no protects, which Glamora is the only one with a protect to use really here. I'm gonna see the Terra out of Michael. Give me the Dragapult Terra Dragon, gonna boost that Dragon Dart damage even higher. Just looks normal with the Dragon helmet, especially with the Dreepies. With its Dreepies that it shoots out. Dragon Darts, once again, gonna destroy Glamora and put up Toxic Debris, but that's not going to mean a whole lot. See how much it does to the Tyranitar as the second hit. Big damage to T-Tar, not going to pick up the knockout, but the close combat absolutely will. And Michael Kelsch with a clean game number 1 victory. In general, just really well played there by Michael, having the just consistent Dragon Darts damage from Dragapult. It never really felt like it was doing a ton of damage, but when you add up everything that it did, it actually got some pretty big damage down on everything, including like everything that knocked out Glamora and like trapping Garchomp, getting some nice little chip onto Corviknight. We'll see if Len wants to change anything up here. Led the Corviknight and the Glamora in the last game, in game number 1, the game that just happened. The Corviknight got a big hit off onto Volcarona, onto Volcarona, but it was not enough to pick up the knockout, and Volcarona was able to knock it out in return. Len might go for something else this time, knowing that the Corviknight is not enough to deal with that lead. And we also saw in game number 1 that Glamora did not do a whole lot. It got one Mortal Spin-off, it got Toxic Spikes up a couple times, but I think technically knocking out the Volcarona with poison damage is the best that it really accomplished, and that was kinda nothing. It did kinda nothing. Michael really had momentum the entire time and was just kind of rolling over with that Dragapult Sneasler. As I said, shocking amounts of damage in shocking ways. Game number 2. It's going to be the Dragapult and the Volcarona again, and this time the Garchomp switched in here alongside the Corviknight. No Glamora in this lead for Len. Plenty of options here for both of them. I mean, I could name the many options that each Pokemon has. It's the... whatever. Len's gonna turn 1 Terra, gonna send that Garchomp to Steel type. A little bit of a dangerous option against a Fire type, but we'll see. And Dragapult's actually just gonna U-turn out of here. It doesn't have anything that really hits Steel types that well, and so it's gonna be pretty happy to get on out of there. And it's gonna be Primarina, probably. Yeah, it's Primarina coming in the other direction. Garchomp leaves Earthquake. It's neutral against both of these targets, doesn't hit Corviknight, and does an okay chunk of damage there. Flamethrower out of Volcarona is just going to dump Corviknight. That did a ton of damage. Corviknight goes down. Although, I wonder if he might have wanted to use that against Garchomp, because now Tyranitar will come in, and you gotta be worried about that Sand Veil proc. It only happens 1 in 8 times, I think. I'm just gonna say it's 8. It only happens 1 in 8 times, but that 1 in 8 times is really scary. Primarina also in here now, able to either Moonblast or Hyper Voice here. It's the Liquid Voice variant. I feel like all of them are Liquid Voice, actually. This Hyper Voice is really good. I'm working through it in my head. It's going to be the Terra out of the Volcarona. It's Terra Grass, so it will be strong against Earthquake. It will take less damage against Earthquake, although I doubt Earthquake is coming out from the Garchomp. It's actually going to Substitute. It does make the Sand Veil a little bit scarier. Going to Giga Drain against the Tyranitar. That did, like, shockingly little damage. And Primarina's Hyper Voice goes through the Substitute, remember. It is a sound-based move. And Primarina takes a decent chunk to the Rock Slide. It'll Citrus Berry that right back up, but Michael in a pretty nice spot here. Taking a bit of chip on both of these Pokemon, but healing up pretty well, and that Garchomp will keep taking Hyper Voices behind the Substitute if they don't miss. And Volcarona will be able to keep healing up a little bit, both with leftovers and with Giga Drains into the Tyranitar, although that Tyranitar is not taking much damage against that Giga Drain. And that special defense is no joke. Garchomp will protect from behind the Substitute, get a little bit more HP back. Another Giga Drain into the Tyranitar. Another small chunk of damage, small chunk of healing. And Moonblast. Ooh, nice read on the Protect, but not able to do enough damage to pick up the knockout on the Tyranitar. That'll leave the Primarina pretty low on HP. At this point, might be worth it for Garchomp to just click Earthquake this turn. Get everything off the field. Tyranitar in very low HP remaining, and I don't know if you can do that actually. The Volcarona still has a little bit too much HP left, but nah, I think I think that's the right play for Len. On Michael's side, I think you hope the Volcarona takes this. Ooh, or just Protect out of it. A double Protect would be incredible read. No double Protect, just a single Protect. And that'll let Primarina drop, as well as the Tyranitar. But the Volcarona will stay standing, and there's... the Dragon Claw does okay damage, but... Crucially, this does get the Fairy type out of the way for Len, so Dragon Claws are a little easier to click. Ramoth gets buffeted by the Sandstorm. Garchomp heals up a little bit more. Took some damage behind the Substitute, but again, now that's not an issue anymore. The Hyper Voice is gone. And the last Pokemon for Len will swap in. It's going to be the Golden Go. Dragapult comes back in on Michael's side. I believe there's one more Pokemon for Michael that we haven't seen yet. Last game it was a Sneasler. Yeah, ideally for Michael here, I think you get rid of the Golden Go this turn if possible. If you can set up basically anything other than the Dragapult and the one-on-one against Garchomp, you most likely win this game, particularly if you're able to stall a couple of turns, get the sand out of the way. Gonna be, is that a double protect from the Volcarona? I think it might have just been a double protect from that Volcarona, and the Phantom Force out of the Dragapult. Dragon Claw into the Volcarona is not going to connect, and neither is that Make It Rain. Wild double protect call out there for Michael, but makes it work. Just gonna take the sand damage again and get the leftovers healing. I will note as well, this is Clear Body Dragapult, which makes sense, as 95% of situations Clear Body is better, but Infiltrator would have been nice here. Phantom Force destroys Golden Go. That's a one-hit knockout. Ring the funny bell. And now it is just the Garchomp remaining for Len in this set. Gets a Dragon Claw down onto the Volcarona, does pick up the knockout. The Volcarona will drop. And we will find out what the final Pokemon for Michael is. The Sandstorm does subside, which is the most important part there, as it means that if the Sneasler does switch in, it has the Focus Sash. Will not lose that, will not drop in one turn, will need 2 turns to take out, and I think Sneasler wins this if it gets to use 2 close combats, which it should certainly be able to. Just a substitute there to try to win this set for Len. Hard to say what the Garchomp will be able to accomplish here. Ooh, it's the Protect for the Sneasler. Going to get the Phantom Force. Turn 1 of the Phantom Force used. Remember, this is Choice Band Dragapult, so it is locked into Phantom Force, and that can create some weird situations. Garchomp does keep healing with his leftovers, but I don't think it's going to take a close combat. Real War of the Minds here. Phantom Force connects into the Garchomp. Does it break the substitute? It should. And it does. And Sneasler, now with the opportunity to close combat, gets the knockout. Michael Kelsch, the 2-0 victory over Len. Excellently played by Michael there. I promise he hasn't been stomping this tournament as much as it seemed like he was doing there. But incredibly played regardless. And Michael will move on to 4-1. One more win almost certainly floats him into top cut. Len at 3-2. Might still be able to get there at 4-2. We'll have to see where the bubble line ends up. But regardless, that was a real fun set there. And got to see the Dragapult Sneasler combo. I'd imagine we'll see more of that from Michael Kelsch in the near future. But a very interesting duo with a lot of very interesting damage. So now you can tell your friends about that, that you saw that one on stream. We're going to take a quick break. Final round of Swiss coming up next. Don't go anywhere.